Hey, coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip right here on the good old YouTube. Brought to you by Just Play Sports Solutions and their My Just Play app. Today, we're going to be talking about Four Verts. Let's talk about the Four Verts concept, how you can use it in your offense. If you've noticed a theme here recently, I had some people reach out to me asking me about stuff, and I'd put together a package of some things, but I've done the curl flat concept. Just recently released the shallow cross concept, how we did it, and I also showed how some other people did it. And so this one has been in the hopper for quite some time. I've been spending time releasing them about Four Verts. There's all kind of cool things that you can do with Four Verts. I mean, it's really cool, and I think it's like the best thing to start if you come into a program and you're gonna have any type of vertical passing game. I'm not talking about verts, just any type of downfield passing game. I think Four Verts is a great way to go. There were years where we would run it all year and do tags with it and stuff like that. And there were other years we didn't do it much at all, but we always started with it. And there were times we'd go to a 7-on-7 and run 80% of our drop back game was verts and something off of it. And, like I said, there were some years we ran that. In 16, we ran a ton of it. A lot of the video you're going to see, I'm going to do it like I did the last one. This one's going to be clinic talk, whiteboard discussion, diagrams. And then the next one, there'll be an attachment, a companion video with me narrating over clips of actually us doing it. And you'll see that there's some clips in there from 16, there's some clips from 19. And there were two different quarterbacks. Matter of fact, they were brothers. It was 16 was the older brother's senior year, and 19 was the younger brother's senior year. But in 17 we ran verts. We just didn't run it as much. But it was just, and 18 as well. It's just a great concept. And when I first got introduced to it in the 90s, when the air raid revolution came, I was like, well, what's the big deal? I mean, is everybody just taking off? And there's more to it than that. First, let me get this disclaimer out there. And I did this several years ago on a video. Four Verts is not for takeoff routes. Four Verts is not for deep routes. As a matter of fact, verts is not necessarily a deep at all. Now, you'll see people throw it deep on verts because the defense screws up and blows a coverage, or a cat just outruns another cat. But it's not, Four Verts is not just that. Okay. All right. Before we get going, talking about the diagrams, let's do our commercials and get those done and talk about that stuff. All right. The GPS system is out there and the Four Verts is in it, as is the curl flat, as is the shallow cross. By the way, we call curl flat California. The shallow cross was Hawaii. And the verts, depending on usually it was Virginia, Cavaliers, you get it, Virginia. And then we had a ton of tags off of it. All that stuff's in the GPS system. And it's over 500 pages. Coaches, it's $100. And I know I had a guy, a youth league coach, hit me up, and I sent it to him. And he said, Coach, this is too much for me. And I said, totally understand. But he bought the O-line book, and he bought the Buck manual, which totally understandable. This is not for everybody. And there's a lot to it. And like I said, you can't do it all in one year. Heck, we came up with it, or we stole it from a bunch of different people, and we never did all the stuff that's in the manual, that's in the gun power spread system manual. We never did all of it in one year. It depends on what you have. There's sometimes we did it with the 3 wides, and sometimes we got a lot of 4 wides, and sometimes we did it with a tight and an attached H with twins the other way. And that's the cool thing about it, because it is a system. It is not bound up to a formation. It's not wing. Say, is it wing T? Yeah. Is it spread? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. It is. You can major in jet. You can major in downfield passing. You can major in screens. You can dabble a little this, a little that. What do your kids do well? And that's what I think this system is all about, because that's what we had to do. Our kids changed. We didn't recruit. And we changed from an under center wing T team because that's the kids we had coming through. Then I retired and came to Georgia. and brought it with me over here, and we adjusted and won some football games over here doing it. And then I went back over there, but my point is I had to adjust to the kids that I had. You just can't. The system is not a one-trick pony. It's not an offense. It's an offensive system. It's not a formation. It's a system. So check it out. I'll send it to you. You look at it, you like it, you pay me, you don't, you delete it from your computer. Why? Because I believe in the integrity of coaches. And I also believe in this system. And I think, unless it's just like this guy the other day, I said, hey, Coach, that's cool, man. I said, I totally understand. Because if you try to put this system on me 35 years ago, I said, I don't know, I can't do that. All right, so you get all kind of freebies with it, and whether you keep the system and pay for it, purchase it or not, you keep the freebies. So that's good too. Hey, I mentioned the O-line manual, which the coach bought. It's the offensive line manual for gap down backer blocking, unleashing the power of angles and leverage. You can get it in paperback form on Amazon for $29.99, or you can hit me up directly at my email address, siegel.chip@gmail.com, and I will send you the ebook. And if you like it, then you pay me, and then I'll mail you the paperback for $30. I charge a penny more than Bezos. And if you've already bought it or you prefer to buy it from Amazon, just take a screenshot of the order and send it to me. And I will send you the ebook. That way you have the ebook, because the ebook is in Google Slides format, so you can bring it up on a projector on a big screen, bring it up on your monitor, and you can do presentations with your players, with your coaches. And so that's great for that. It's just like a PowerPoint. And then you've got the paperback to highlight, to write in the margins, and do what you do with books. So that's a pretty cool deal too, I think. All right, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It makes us go. I don't understand it. Right now, we're getting close to 4,500 subs. I would love to get 5,000, at some point this year, here in 2025. I used to try to do like fund drives, subscription drives. Hey, let's get it done by this. It puts a lot of pressure on folks, and me too. But just subscribe to it. And you've already subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, share it on your socials. Put it on your Insta, your Facebook, your Twitter/X. Say, this old guy's crazy. I had a guy the other day said, you'll learn a lot and you're going to laugh. I think it's the Yankees that laugh at me because of my Southern stuff. But that's okay. I love you, Yankees, because y'all are very faithful to Coach Chip, and I appreciate it. All right, check out the podcast. We just started season 2. There's over 50 episodes. I did 51 in season 1, and now I'm 4 episodes in on season 2. All kind of different people talking football, coaches. The very first episode of season 1 was Josh Pate, Josh Pate's college football show, because he's from this county that I live in, and I knew him back when he was not famous. And I said, hey, if I do a podcast, will you be on my first episode? He said, you know it, Coach. And so people like that, and all we do is talk football. I kind of say it's a vibe like, wings and beer vibe. Do we get into X's and O's? A little, not much. Because I'm not real good at painting pictures with my words, I don't think. That's why I use the YouTube channel. And so I just wanted to talk and, the coach's office stuff with that. And then we will talk about, and there's been a few guys that were on the podcast that I had them come on the guest coach series because they said, I said, man, that'd be good. People need to see that. And so we did that too. All right, let's get to talking. Let's go to the diagrams and talk about Four Verts. Now, the Four Verts passing concept obviously involves 4 receivers. Okay, you can go empty and run 5 verts. I used to do a thing like that too. With teams want to do that stupid stuff, that man, 2-man. I think the empty 5 verts is great for 707. But it's a passing concept that involves 4 receivers releasing off the line of scrimmage vertically in what looks like deep routes. And I think that they're so successful, 4 verts are successful because the defense is so afraid of getting beat deep. And that's what opens it up. 4 verts is exactly what it sounds like. It's a vertical concept, but you end up hurting them because the defense plays horizontally, so they're trying to defend vertical. The vertical releases, you can see in the diagrams right here, all 4 routes release vertical, and the defense gets gaps in it. And so once those gaps, because of the horizontal nature of their drops, talking about linebackers, outside backers, you get gaps. And what you have to teach your kids, and we'll get into talking about this, it's not just the foot race. You just, oh, 4 verts, watch this. I'm going to take off and show you. I'll run a 10 flat. No, dude. If there's a seam, get this term, you gear down. You gear down. And what's so cool about 4 verts is you're going to see, and this is going to go a little long, guys, because I'm going to get into it, some of the stuff we did. I can't cover all of it because this is how we did it. I want to hear how you did it. If there's something I didn't do. I said, Coach, did you ever try this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we did try that. Oh, no, I've never done that. That's pretty cool. Because there's so much you can do. Once you start tagging it and once your receivers learn to make adjustments, it's crazy. And the secondary, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're doing it right, these DBs, they don't know whether to scratch their watch or wind their ass. Because it's just such a great concept, and we had such a good time running it, and it's a great way to start. Like I said, even if you don't use it, it's a great way to start in the summertime. Running 4 verts, teaching the kids, the receivers, spatial awareness, teaching the quarterbacks to find holes in the defense, to find grass, to find voids. You'll see all that. And I highly recommend, if you do this, even in the summertime, record it. Get somebody with their phone, get them up in the press box, get them up in the tower, and let them record your vert session. Now, I will say this. I don't like running 4 verts with routes on air. Now, I know that's an air raid staple, but here's why. They don't learn spatial awareness. They don't learn where the holes are. There's holes everywhere. At least put cones out there, some kind to mark. So the kids do learn to gear down, is the term that I use, to kind of sit down in open space. Don't just run your routes on air with no landmarks. That goes for all of it, but especially for the 4 verts. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, here's the first one. This is just, and again, I don't know a lot of people that do it this way. It worked for us. And I've said this a long time ago, and I'll say it again. I'm not the best quarterback coach in the world. I don't think I am, by no stretch. And I've had to find ways. I think the term everybody uses now, I had to hack it. I had to find a way to hack it so my quarterbacks could be successful, because I couldn't teach them necessarily to read it the way you would see it read on Saturday and Sunday. So I'd look at it and try to simplify it. And so, okay, here's what we notice. Remember on the high-low concept, on the shallow cross, I turned it, instead of having them read the whole cockeyed thing, I turned it into 2 reads. And there's really 3 reads. You can read the 2 crossers, or you can read the post and the high cross, the dig, or you can read the flat route by the running back and the shallow cross. So there's 3 reads on one play. And what we do, we look at defense. All right, this is what we're going to do. We tell the quarterback what to read. Did the same thing with the vert game. So what we did, we had default. Because, in high school, you're not going to see a lot of post-snap adjustment. If you do, it'd be like going from one high pre-snap to 2 high post-snap and vice versa. That ain't a big deal. All right, and, you'll see a little bit of what do they call it, quarter, half, and a little bit of the cover 6 and things like that. But you don't get into very exotic coverages. And I think a lot of the high schools that are doing it, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot, or they just got better dudes, and it doesn't matter what they run. But against 1 high, this was our default. The 2 inside receivers, whether they're on or off, because some people like to put, one of the inside receivers up, which is the original air raid way to do it. But the Y, they put the Y on the line, but he'd be up in the slot. But the 2 inside receivers, they run verticals. Now, that doesn't mean it's a foot race. Let me go back to that. They're going to get a release. They're going to act like they're running deep. I always taught them, best possible release. Be water, dude. Take the path of least resistance. If it's an outside release, but fight, stack it, restack it, whatever you got to do, and you wanted to get on the hash. And this is the superiority, to me, of the high school game, especially the way the fields are drawn. Our fields in high school, and you've heard me say this before if you're a longtime viewer of Football Talk with Coach Chip, brought to you by Just Play Sports Solutions, is the field is divided horizontally into perfect thirds. A third from sideline to hash, from hash to hash a third, and then a third from hash to sideline. And it's not that way in college anymore, and it hadn't been that way in the pros forever. I know the pros brought it into the uprights back, I think, in 72. I think that's right. And when they brought their hash marks in, because they thought it would open the game up and all that and make it a more passing game. And then the damn Dolphins went 17-0 and had like 2,000-yard rushers. And because it ended up now you can run the ball better with the hashes in, because you can there's no running into the boundary anymore in the NFL game, and it's been that way for 53 years. I remember when they did it. As you look at my diagram here, you got the two inside guys running hot seams, and notice I drew the dots here. And the reason why is because the quarterback will throw it hot. Now, we teach a 3-step drop from gun as far as drop back game, but the quarterback knows he can abort the drop if he sees a guy open up right now. And you'll see on the other video, the companion video with the video clips, you'll see us doing that a lot, especially with the H. That H, hitting that H hot right here, Hoss, that's money. If he can get a release off the line, and he can get a pretty good release because he's off the line, so they can't get up in his face and, impress him. So he's got space to begin with. He gets a good release and releases behind the backers and in front of the safety or safeties, and I'll do cover 2 in a moment. He's open right here. That's what I call a hot seam. And you're hitting him in the hole. And you do the same thing with the Z over here, and you'll see a couple where we did that as well. And then the outside receivers against one high are going to run curls. Now, if they're doing like man free, they can take off if those corners are pressing them. But if they're running a true cover 3, country cover 3, that's what we call it down here in the South. If they're running a country cover 3, keeping everything in front of them. Okay, 2 inside receivers run the seams, and they're looking for space in here, and outside receivers run curls. Because what are the corners doing? They don't want to get beat deep, period. And so what you end up with is almost like a flood concept on the running back side, because if he's hitting the flat right here, right, the corner is dropping not to get beat deep. The backer jumps the flat route, your curl's wide open. You see what I mean? Now, the dotted line for the running back is this. Running back always had an option. If the will linebacker, because on our protection, we're solid over here. If they bring Mike, we're good. But and he said, what if they bring the outside backer and the quarterback's going to hit that dude right friggin' now, the H. So they bring the Mike, we're good. But they bring the Will without the running back. We only got 2 over here to block 3, with Will being the 3. So if Will comes, the running back sees that, and he does what I call a stab. He's running like this, eyeballing the backers. He's got a 2-way go. If this one comes, he shoots here. If this one comes, of course, he goes at flat. And if this one doesn't do anything but drop, he goes at flat. That's what he's doing. He's trying to draw attention to himself. And you'll see a lot of times he'll be open because teams, when they're running country cover 3, they're using these outside backers to redirect or wall off these slot receivers, and they're not getting to the flat as quick as they need to. So, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't on that. Now, here the same. This is what we do. We call Virginia, Cavaliers, whatever we called it that year. It's the same call. All they got to do is identify how many safeties. Is it 2 high, 1 high? Because if it's 1 high, the 2 inside guys are going vertical on the seam. If it's 2 high, the outside guys are going. Why? Because usually it's going to be cover 2, safeties going over the top, and corners, redirecting and playing underneath. So there you go. So the safeties, like this, look at the H over here. If the safety releases over the top to cover the L receiver, then your curl's open. And it's the same rule as curls. If he curls right here and it's open immediately, quarterback's going to throw it. If he curls and that mic has dropped right in there, then he's just sliding to open space. Get in the void between the linebackers. Same thing as we talked about on the curl flat video. All right, now here's the other thing. I should have said this up front. Quarterback can't read the whole cockeyed field post-snap. I'm sorry. We're going from sideline to sideline, at very least, from number to number. Ain't nobody got that kind of vision. Peyton freaking Manning ain't got that kind of vision. Tom Brady does not have that kind of vision. I'm sorry. They can say it all they want to. They ain't got it. First of all, it's physically impossible to see 160 yards like that. You got to be more bug-eyed than a lizard. So what is he doing? He's picking the matchup. Either you've determined with him, with the quarterback on film study or what they're in, that this is the best matchup. Sometimes it's just a personnel issue. So, okay, I like my matchup over here with my tall receiver on the shorter DB. That's the one I'm going to play with these two. Or I like this one over here. I'm going to play with these two. We like it to the running back side because we get the third receiver out in the route right there on this side. Fifth receiver overall, third on this side of the field on the right side. And so now we like that for whatever reason. So the quarterback makes his choice. So right now he's reading this. Free goes over the top. He's checking down to the curl. If this guy gets a good release and he gears down right in here, as Free is fighting to get over the top, he can throw it in the hole right here. See what I'm saying? He can't, if he's trying to see, you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. When kids try to see everything, they see nothing. I kind of equate it to going bird hunting. There's a whole flock of birds and you just shoot up there amongst them, you probably won't get anything. You pick one out and you aim at it. And that old saying, aim small, miss small. They can't see everything. And that, I think, is a mistake a lot of people make with the Verts concept. If he's looking down the middle of the field, he probably can see these two, but he can't see what's out here. And we do have something later for that. And I'm sorry I'm going slow, but I'll try to go a little faster. But this is a switch concept. All right, all we do is call switch, and we can call L switch, R switch, right switch, left switch. We can call all switch. And all this is we called it rails at one time because it's like train tracks and they're crossing. It's like an intersection there. And you'll see some of that on the companion video that will be tagged below in the show notes in the description. It will have the link to get to the companion video. And you'll see where we ran this a good bit. And I'm going to tell y'all something. That outside guy coming in, he was almost always open. It's the dangest thing you've ever seen. Because that backer's going to release just like that. And a lot of times that corner, he's just going to run over there a little bit. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's all get out. But we just called it switch. And you can call switch this is switch versus one high. Okay, because remember, versus one high, you want two verticals on the hashes. And that's why it's that way. And if you go switch versus two high, you want the verticals on the numbers. And so now the inside guys, they're switching, and that's how you teach it. You teach it up front. It's stacking it. You start out, you say, okay, this is it. This is the base of it. Teach them their landmarks, hash marks and numbers. So all right, now we're switching. So you two, L and Z, you're switching. So Z, where do you go? I go to the numbers. Correct. And what we do, we release at an angle. That's the closest one that gets them to that point. If they don't get exactly on it, we don't get bent out of shape about it, but those are the landmarks. And notice against cover 2, the inside guys are the curlers, and so now the outside guys are on switch because they're switching responsibilities. That's what switch means. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Hey, let's take a break right here and hear a word from our sponsor, Just Play Sports Solution. They power all the diagrams you see here. Hey coaches, let me tell you about our partners over at Just Play Sports Solutions. All the play diagrams on Football Talk with Coach Chip since the spring of 2021 have been done by the My Just Play app Just Play Sports Solutions created. You can find it at myjustplay.com. Team packages, individual packages, which is what I got. With the team package, you create your playbooks, you make scout cards, you can add video to the play so the diagram literally comes to life. The players get an app, they put it on their phone, so you don't have to print any more playbooks, any more game plans, any more scouting reports. And since players never go anywhere without their phones, their playbook is always with them. Contact my buddy Brad Rumsey at brumsey@justplayss.com, brumsey@justplayss.com, or call him by phone at 517-937-5433. Tell him Coach Chip sent you. All right, guys, go check it out. Call my buddy Brad Rumsey over there, and I'm telling you, it's the best play drawing diagram I've used, and I've used them all. The only thing is better is drawing them by hand, but you know, you're like me and you're getting old and your hand gets to shaking. They're not as pretty as they used to be. So checking them out. That is the My Just Play app, brought to you by Just Play Sports Solutions. All right, back to this. All right, we left off on switch. Switch all seam right here. Nobody is curling. Again, it's not a foot race, you know, unless you can, the guy's lost his mind, like against, let's say the corner runs in here and you get out there, but gear down, let the quarterback throw it to you. Again, verts are not necessarily, I would say 90% of the time they're not. And I'm just picking that number out of thin air. I'm picking it out of something else, but I won't say what. But most of the time, verts is not a deep ball. And if it is, you ain't doing it right. And y'all know me, I don't do a lot of adamant and concrete statements. But if most of your verts are deep balls, you ain't doing it right, cuz. All right, now this is where we got into tagging it. And it's really good when you go hurry up. We'd go verts. Because this reminded me of it like at the end of a game or at the end of a half, or when we'd go like hurry up, like 2-minute offense kind of thing, we would go all verts. And all we had to do was tag like left, right. And I'll show you what left and right is. And we had cute little names for that. Our quarterbacks, I told you they were brothers for 6 years. We had a set of brothers at quarterback for us. They had, their grandmothers were Lyra and Rita. So the left cut was Lyra. The right cut was Rita. That's pretty cool when you've got brothers that are your quarterbacks for 6 years. You don't have to change your calls. It just carries over. The wide, when we call wide, that meant the widest guys ran like digs. And the inside guys, and we didn't do this that much, but we had the ability, this kind of thing we'd do in the summer. And the inside guys would run their verts on the hashes. And the numbers guys, the wide guys, would run in cuts. And you'd see that happen a lot, especially like if the backer dropped at a flat and, you know, the corner's dropping right here, getting deep, and he'd come right in here. And you see that open up a lot. It was a good 7-on-7 thing. I cannot remember it. I couldn't find any film of us doing it in a game. I'm not saying we never did it, but I never saw it. Or I just missed it. Now this would be what we call Rita, right. And this means the inside guys are making right cuts. So you're getting like a dig from the Z here, and you're getting like an out from the H, because the H is on the right, and he's going to cut right, and the other guy's going to cut right, and the other two guys, they're running their vert concept. See, it's against too high, so their vert concept on too high is get on the numbers and go. So they're clearing it out over here, so it's almost kind of like the Y sail, is that what they call it in the air raid? It's kind of like that. And then you got the left cut, we called it Lyra, because that was their other grandmother's name, and they make left cuts. So you can see that's pretty cool stuff. All right, now this one you need to go find it, and it's in the companion video with all the play clips. Is and we accidentally discovered this, and I'm sure there's somebody out there a lot smarter than me goes like, yeah, that's been part of it, you know, since the 90s when Leach and Mummy started doing it. They called it 6. Because they always scored 6 when they ran it. I called it bend. And here was the cool thing. I only did it with one guy. Well, not one guy, but one side. The bend was always on the right. Don't ask me why. I don't remember. I think quarterback could see it better. And also too, that guaranteed you wouldn't get two bends, and he'd bend into him, and they'd bend into each other. Dude, I'm telling you, against one high, against two high, that bend was good to us. Now you say, well, why didn't you do it every time? Because it depended on what the defense was doing. Against two high, they're really getting out over the top. That bend was usually a bit deeper than most high school linebackers would drop. And this cat over here, I think sometimes we just had him take off too. We just do like 3 verts and then the bender. And what he's really doing, he's hunting space. So as he's releasing vertically and making them think, he's going deep, And that could help you because the free safety thinks he's coming deep into his zone, his area. You may be able to sneak this guy behind the corner. If the corner doesn't see that, or the corner sees 2 vertical releases, so he goes deep, the free goes deep, and now you got your running back one-on-one over here. We really like reading the running back side because it gave that quarterback the outlet. And I'll just be honest with you, there were sometimes, though, he did pre-snap it away from the running back because of what he saw or because of what we saw in film study and what we game planned. But the bend, I called them benders. And we would just say, we'd call the verts and give the bend signal or the bend call. And that meant that cat was the bender. And it wasn't always the same kid. Like sometimes it was a different kid, but it was always the guy on the right's the way we did it. And the bend was good to it. You're going to see several benders on the video on that companion one. All right, coaches, we're at over 30 minutes. I sure appreciate you spending time with me on Football Talk with Coach Chip, brought to you by the My Just Play app and Just Play Sports Solutions. Got a chance to support old Coach Chip at buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. Buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. Got a lot of guys that I do stuff with and done some Zoom-like calls, Google Meets, things like that. And they'll thank me by buying me something to drink at buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. I've had a few guys just say, Coach, I'm really loving this stuff. Just thought I'd let you know I appreciate it. And hey, I appreciate you. And thank you for doing that because I did buy something to drink, I can promise you, with that money. All right, be sure to subscribe because all of these resources, and it's up to 60 now, or right at 60. But I haven't updated it since May. All of these resources available to you if you subscribe to the channel. So if you're watching right now, just click on the subscribe button. And the only thing that'll happen if you click on the bell too is you'll get an alert when I put new content out there. That's the only thing. You will not get any email from me unless I'm responding to you. Or maybe you've sent me an email before and I say, hey, this is something new. But you won't get spammed, I promise. And nobody I know gets spammed from following or subscribing to a YouTube channel. It helps with the algorithm numbers and it just drives traffic my way, I think. I'm not sure. I don't understand it, but like I've told y'all before, I cannot operate my car. I can operate my car, my truck, but I can't fix it. I know how to drive it. I know how to operate a computer, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. All right, don't forget, check out our buddies over at Just Play Sports Solutions. They are the proud sponsor of Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast and the YouTube channel. And they've just done a great job and just all the cool things you can do with that. I've talked with Brad a while back, and he said he had a guy called, hey, Coach Chip sent me. Tell him Coach Chip sent you when you go over there, okay? All right, special thanks to my buddy Brian Hale, who does the beautiful theme music that opens up the podcast and the YouTube channel. So until next time, coaches, y'all be elite.